don't have that much space, so I need to be quick about this one. So, introductory classes yet. I'm gonna do everything from the beginning. Alright. So, the focus here too would be on C#. First question. What is a C#? It is a language, computer language, that is event driven, and object oriented, or something like this, orientated, yeah. So what does this mean? There are two important things on this thing, is event driven and object orientated. By event driven means it's a code for actions, not objects. The one that we are doing. Understand this? It is a code for actions, not objects. There are codes that are made to build objects, but this one is made, actually the one we're doing is specifically made for actions. Now, these actions will be performed either, whatever you see, either on or by objects. Get it? They'll be performed either on or by objects. That's what they mean by designing. It's the actions, what will happen. Okay, so what do we mean by object orientated? Orientated. By object orientated, we mean mostly every code written the purpose perform purpose is for it to be performed by an object. The opposite, you get it?
Yeah.
Event driven. Mostly every code written, not every, I said mostly, highlights the word mostly. Mostly every code written, the purpose is for it to be performed by an object. So, what do you mean by this? Mostly every code. Well, there'll be codes that you're gonna write on a form page. This is a type of an object. Actually, that one is updated. So yes, no. Okay. Let me show you the difference between object orientated and console orientated. Similar example, C# and Java. Look at those two coding languages. When you code for Java, you don't need to specify on where that action will take place. Where that action will take place. You don't need to specify. But here, you need to specify if that action will happen after maybe a calculate button is clicked. You see the difference? On Java, as soon as you run, you press run. Run. The whole code will run and give you a solution. Now, as soon as you press run, you must initiate the code yourself. See the difference? Object oriented deals with specific objects. The code will need to be initialized for it to run. Yes, you can run the code, but then for it to perform the task that you are waiting for the code to perform, you need to initialize that. But on Java, the code runs and will give you a solution. Let me make an example. Okay. Can I sweep up here?
Yeah.
Cool. Make an example. On Java, when they say write a code that adds two numbers, and the same thing they say for C#.
Yeah.
On Java, you just write the code. Besides the thing, import Java, whatever. If they are inputs, you're gonna say put inputs. But let's just say right now there's no input. Let's work with the theory that there is no input. You go and say, maybe those numbers you're given, A is equal to 2, B is equal to 4. You say int A is equal to 2, int B is equal to 4, and then int sum is equal to A plus B. And then you say system dot out dot println sum. What would be the outcome of this thing? You say 4 plus 2, the answer will be 6. It's easy. But on C#, the same thing. No need for inputs, but now you have to specify. The code is written on a calculate button, right? Here it wasn't written on which buttons the code was written. Here we're going to say the code is written on a calculate button. When it's clicked, the event will happen. Going back to why this could be event orientated. So when the calculate button is clicked, you're gonna say int A and B I'm just gonna put it like this. A is equal to 2, B is equal to 4, sum, and then sum is gonna be equal to 2, not 2 plus 4 then. A plus B. And then you're gonna say specific object where this will be displayed. TXT, what is the text box? Sum dot text, meaning this should display, this will be displayed as a text. That's why they call out to text is equal to sum dot to string. That's the reason why you change it into string. See the difference? We display by on an object orientated, we display by putting the exact object where that thing would be. Like we put it on display, it's okay. This answer should show up on this text box. But here, we did no such thing. We just say, print out the answer. Because the answer will be printed out on our console. So once you understand the two differences between these languages, it becomes easier to know when you do C#, it's always in a purpose of a specific object. Whatever you do, it's always in a purpose of a specific object. Unlike Java, where Java is just the algorithm that is important, but here it's also important to know the syntax, because the syntax mostly speaks on an object. Okay, cool. So, like every coding language has, like I said yesterday, every coding has data types. Data type. This is for to recognize how many bits should be there, or how many bits should be there, or what type of data is this, so that if I understand whether it allows arithmetic operations to happen, whether it allows logical operations to happen, or things like that. It must know what type of data it's using. We also have functions. Like every code has functions. Also have built-in methods. We do have data type, functions, built-in methods, which are the first three things that we're going to talk about before class 11. Why do I feel like this is more penalty mark? Just bought this yesterday. Alright. So let's get into our data type. I won't go to the depth of understanding beta corner, because they're not that necessary when it comes to coding. But knowing the different types of data is important. So we have integers. We have doubles here, or you can use on C#. You also have boolean. Boolean. We also have char for characters. String. Now all of these data types are important for the computer, or for the translators to understand what you're talking about. You get me? Cool. Now, the purpose of these two exist is for you to create our variables. What are variables? Here's another question. Okay. What are variables? This is not the first time you heard this word. Yeah, my spelling might be wrong. What are variables?
It's the placeholder of the data type in a sense.
Okay, that's an answer. But what did we used to call them our variables in high school? Let me make an example of this. When you have x plus 5 is equal to 10, this was called a variable. Why was it called a variable? Because it holds a value that is unknown. You understand? The reason why it's called a variable, it holds a value that is unknown. This variable holds a value that is unknown. So instead of putting 5 here, because we know 5 plus 5 is equal to 10, we say x plus 5 is equal to 10. And the question will ask you, what does x equals to? Then you'll be therefore to say, no, x is equal to 5. Because if I replace x with 5, then this statement would be what? Would be true. If I put 6 instead of 5, the statement will be what? Will be false. You understand the reason behind number variables? At least you're getting a picture. Yeah. So, same thing here. But here we are afforded the luxury of giving values into our variables. But, again, when we look at our variables as input, we do not know what is going to be put. But what we want is to make sure that the statement becomes true at the end. So what do we do? Let me make an example here. You have same statement as before. They said input 2 numbers. You know that you have to input 2 numbers. Ne? And it should give you a sum of those 2 numbers, right? So right now, on this type of variable, you know what? X plus y is equal to z. This is what you have. You cannot solve for this because there is no value that is inputted here. But what do you know? You know for a fact to x plus y is equal to, actually, this is a true statement. Here you use that. Z will be nothing. You know that x plus y is equal to x plus y, right? So you have to create a sum. The important part of the question is this. Is this a sum? Would this equate to a sum? And the answer is yes. Therefore, when you go to your variables, you say, when they say 2 numbers, number is part of which data type? An integer, right? I said, okay, int num1. Okay? I'm not thinking num2 is also an int. So, num2. One of my brackets for syntax is important. And then I know I have 2 variables, num1 and num2. I do not know the values of those variables, nor do I care, because they will be inputted by the users. They will never be the same, nor fixed. So once you know what's num1 and num2, you just need to put an addition sign between them, which will make your statement to be true. But then again, since this is coding, you know what you must have another variable, which would be the answer of those 2 variables, right? So you say, it's like this. Boy, let's get back to here. x plus y is equal to x plus y, right? And then I say z is equal to x plus y. Therefore, x plus y is equal to z. You get it? Or let me make it like this, calling as a d. X plus y is equal to x plus y. Understand? Simple math thing. And someone says, if you add these two, they will give you this unknown z. The answer will be this unknown oz. They are combining the two. Therefore, this means z will be equal to x plus y. You get it? Same thing occurs here. But now, this z is a new what? Is a new variable. Is a new unknown. But we know how to get it. We just thinned the formula. So back here, I would say add another int, which would be sum. And then I'll say sum is equal to num1 plus num2. Working with my variables. Z is equal to z plus y. This one, z cannot be an input. These are the two inputs. How do I highlight that these are the only two inputs? By accepting them at the top. By saying num1 is equal to txt num1 dot text. Okay, you have to use int dot parse for a data type. Don't forget that you have to use int dot parse for a data type. But it's like this, and this is how you accept a value. So making this one an input, a value needed to be inputted there on this text box, and num2 needs to be inputted. So after num1 is imputed and num2 is imputed, then the sum will be equal to whatever the num1 is, whatever the num2 is. For an example, they can add 5, someone can input 5 and input 10. The answer will be what? Be 50. Someone else can input 7, well, the answer now is changed to 70. So it limits, it doesn't have limits because it can interchange depending on the user. So that is the benefits of coding. Math is fixed because it wants you to get the unknown. But this one uses the unknowns to be able to create new answers. No coder can instinctively come out and say, num1 will be 5, num2 will be 3, unless specifically instructed to. If you are instructed, num1 should be this and num2 should be this, then yes, there is no need accepting them as inputs. Just put them there as what? As variables and values, and then keep out my answer. So that was working through our variables, especially the ones which are numbers, which are integers, right? And then now we need to let's just say integers. Let's work with doubles. Doubles is the same thing. The only difference is now the numbers have commas. And you need to know the logic behind doubles. When you use prices, average, event, discount, all those things that will need you to give out answers that are gonna give commas. always use the data type yabo as it doubles. Because you know their answers will always have commas. Yabo. I could make one example of where you use it double. For instance, they say where you have to say find the price after the VAT is added. They'll tell you the initial price is equal to 50 rand, comma 0, 0. And then they will say the VAT is equal to 15%. When you code for this, you're gonna, there's no values to accept here, but they should be displayed because they say display the price. Maybe that's the question to ask you. So you know, you have 50 rand, the VAT is 15%. So I have to say double price and VAT, and then double final amount, then you close. So once you go to I'm thinking this one is an advanced thing. So you say final amount is equal to price plus price multiplied by VAT. This should be at the top though, because these are already given. Or uVAT wakho vele ubhale ukuthi 0, what is it? 1.5. Price wakho ubhale njengoba njalo 50. Then the answer will come out. How do you get your answer? You're gonna say TXT final amount dot text is equal to int dot is equal to final amount dot to string. See, once we remember the logic there, then it's easy. It's the same thing as an integer, but it has a bit of few unknown complications. Cool. Let's get into eBoolean. Now, eBoolean works hand in hand with AMA functions. It loves AMA functions. It's easier for a Boolean to work with AMA functions. But let's look at a Boolean without a function. So, how does a Boolean exist without a function? If I say, here, an answer. Bool, answer, int, num1, num2, sum. and say sum is equal to num1. Okay, no, actually, num1 is equal to 10, num2 is equal to 15, sum is equal to 35. And then say statements, sum, no, last but not least. That one is the 7th. Okay. $35 is equal to num1 plus num2. Or the other way around, num1 plus num2 is equal to 35. And then your question would be, because if you're dealing with Amabulan, is it true or false?
False.
So you already know this one is false, right? But I want you to challenge your brain. How could you use the variable answer, since answer is a boolean, to give out that? Yeah, no, it won't work. And I'm stressing myself and trying to make it work. Yeah, no. Fine. Let's get into my functions. So with booleans, character, string, or actually I could just do a string and then get a boolean. Would that be okay? So you cannot add strings.
I know these. Like I know.
Yeah, I'm going to something always I understand. Yeah, I know I'm wrong. Integer double seswenzile boolean essentially right now. I know a method is so hard guy. I almost jumped. Nice, I almost jumped. So when it comes to Boolean usually use ama functions. That's how they operate. They work well with ama functions. What do I mean ama functions? I mean or if statement back or if or for or what would be the other one? Switch. What would be the other one? Logical operators. The last one is relational operators. I'm sure you know this. Right?
Yeah. Oh, wait, because like these, I know. It's just the coding part that.
This is the coding part. The code itself underlines with everything against it right now, because the actual coding, the actual putting the syntax in there is for it lies under you understanding each and every one of these. You understand me? If there's a lack in your coding, then there's a lack of information in these. And I cannot say or say exactly what that lack is without me doing this and you see. Oh, there is where I have an issue. Unless you know exactly where your issue is at, then we can work to patch out that.
We can try doing the activities?
Well, number one, ama-activities or if statements we did them yesterday. But yes, that is an idea, but we have time. So yeah, we still have time. There's no need for us to rush into that exactly. I don't know, I like teaching the background of things. So it makes it easier for someone when they do it to recall. This is
I do understand these. That's the thing.
Alright, then you don't mind if I ask questions since you do understand them.
But then that's the thing. Even if you ask questions on these, like maybe I wanted things that are gonna like appear in the paper.
All of these are gonna appear in the paper. Just not the way I'm doing them. But they are definitely gonna appear in the paper. They are there. There is nothing that I've told you that doesn't appear in the paper. Even this. It's the first thing that you learn on your notes.
But mostly this is like theory.
It's not. You see, remember when the time you get into theory, I show you the practical part of it. It's just that I'm not giving it to you to do it. I'm just doing it myself. See the difference? But you know, I get your idea. I actually do. So since you wanna challenge yourself, I am gonna give you a much challenge, especially on our functions, because that's where we at. And since you already done this yesterday, you can build my built-in methods and my strings and stuff like that. Yes, right now we are on the right place because you were not there when we did our if statements. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm just gonna focus on these. Eliminating this one. I choose not to teach people that one. Not that I don't know it, I know it, I just don't like it.
Yeah, also.
Okay, so for our if statements, since you said you could, do those exercises for me. Simple activity.
That's the thing. See, when it comes to exercises, like I want you to like, if you do it, man, then talk me through it. That this is like this is what you have to write. This is what you. That's like how I
Try this one.
teach it.
It's the easiest one. Write a code that will accept two numbers in using our text boxes. Compare which one is the biggest. You said you wanted a challenge. You want me to do this one with you first? Alright, this is the only one I'm doing with you. So, structure of your code. Always remember, you declare, you accept, you do algorithm, and then you display. Always remember. So now they said, for two numbers using our text boxes, first you start by declaring, right? Declare two numbers. You have num1, you have int num1, and you also have num2, right? And then you would have your int num1, int num2, and then you have your answer.
Yeah. Since we're not doing like a if statement, I mean, if
then you have your answer, but there is no variable needed for it. Actually there is. Then you have your answer. Then you accept your values by saying txt num1 is equal to t int dot parse dot txt num1 dot text. Why? How much do we have to one man? It's such a shoe, but
Oh, it's also true.
yeah, such a
Yeah.
So then we have num2 is equal to it at arrays txt num2 dot text. Okay. And then we have our if statement because I've already accepted number values. If num1 is greater than num2, close bracket, open parenthesis, answer is equal to num1. And then you say else answer is equal to num2. Close your parenthesis. Now it's time for you to display txt answer dot text is equal to answer dot to string. See how easy it is? I think for me, see how she said, you know, I can't.